not only with the Kiev regime, but also with those who supply them with weapons, HIMARS launchers, depleted uranium shells, long-range missile systems, and so on. All these weapons, supplied by members of the UN Security Council, now sitting opposite me, seemingly so concerned about the humanitarian consequences of the conflict in Ukraine, are killing civilians, women and children on a daily basis. The entire military potential of NATO is aimed at this. They believe they got away with killing millions of civilians in Afghanistan, Iraq, Libya, and other places. We are sure that one day they will be held accountable for what they have done, and no threats of sanctions against judges, as was the case with the U.S. War Crimes investigation in Afghanistan, no intimidation of witnesses and whistleblowers, and suppression of facts will help them.
At the meeting, a lot of allegations were hurled against Russia. However, the Russian ambassador Nebenzia took to the floor of the meeting and pointed out that at this point, Ukraine is openly using terrorist tactics, assassinating individuals, targeting the Crimean Bridge, and has announced that it intends to carry out assassinations targeting Russians around the world. He pointed out that it seems that among the United States and its allies, there's not really any concern for the plight of the civilians in liberated Donbass who have been targeted since 2014, the shelling. He pointed to recent atrocities such as the attack on a civilian bus that recently took place. And he pointed out that these atrocities being committed with weapons supplied by the United States are not coming at no cost to Ukraine. In the long run, Ukraine will be forced to pay and to compensate the United States and the Western powers for what's being done.
The incredible funds allocated to Ukraine through the IMF, the EU, and Washington are driving the country into a debt hole. All of this solidarity is not free. The ordinary Ukrainians will have to repay their debts. Under the guise of attracting private investment to Ukraine, in fact, there is a transfer of state sovereignty under the external corporate management of the world's largest investment fund, headquartered in New York. In fact, we are witnessing a recycling of American money. Most of it will return to the accounts of Western corporations, while some will settle on the offshores of Ukrainian and American officials. Some of it might not even fit into the pockets of Ukrainian leaders as they rush to leave the country, as was the case with former Afghan President Ghani.
The grain deal was also a point of disagreement, and accusations were hurled at Russia regarding the grain deal. However, Ambassador Nebenzia pointed out that the United States has behaved in quite a hypocritical manner when it comes to the situation surrounding the global food supply and the impact on it by the conflict. He pointed out that so far the grain deal and the exports of grain have not been used to supply the countries that are in need, but rather to supply grain to the wealthy European countries. And furthermore, we've seen various Russian banks not have sanctions lifted against them. Pipelines remain blocked regardless of deals that have been made. Western leaders have not been willing to move ahead when it comes to issues of ammonia exports and other things, and that it's really the United States and its allies that are holding up the ability of countries around the world to get the food and fertilizer they need. So while allegations are being hurled at Russia, we've heard a very strong defense from the Russian ambassador to the United Nations, calling out the UN Security Council and those convening the meeting for the way they are simply using this as a platform to repeat allegations against Russia and not move forward with a potential resolution of the conflict.